unfortunate amount of time, usually anywhere between 8 to 18 months in some cases. Part of it has to do with the technology that's developed and the systems and processes that exist around it. The other side of it is just, frankly, processes and the ways that it's worked so far, the technology that's been built don't really support really rapid ingestion, rapid visibility across the board. And so what we're going to do today is sort of demonstrate what it's like to consume a survey that Bedrock does. I'm going to start though by showing just some of the basic functionality of what today our cloud software platform can actually do. So here you're seeing what it looks like when you want to upload just raw information directly out and from the survey itself. So this is raw multi-beam data, and this is raw side scan sonar files. This is literally like uploading to Google Drive, except not just seeing the files in a list, but it's extracting a bunch of more information out of those files and geospatially showing that on a map. So immediately once this happens, you get to see things like general swath coverage, overlaps, as well as key information like where you may see some holidays. So right here is a very obvious example. This information being live shown, so imagine something comes back to shore, or even out at sea, you upload the raw information with the geo information also encoded within. You actually get to live see that information in a browser, your whole team, no matter where you are. And this exists for both side scan and multi-beam right now. We're about to release mag, and sub-bottom will be shortly after that. So you also get kind of core information like being able to see track lines, where we get to see things like heading as well as speed. So maybe you wanted to be able to verify exactly what different speeds you were going on any single track line itself. Or in some cases, maybe you want to know things like when that file was actually collected. It's all extracted from all of the raw files directly, and that's a really key core differentiator between what we're doing versus others, is that it has a lot to do with the fact that it's not just the process files, it's actually all starting from the raw information. We're preserving that live in the cloud. We're building slightly derivative products to be able to see these things quickly and performantly in cloud environments like you're seeing here today. But it's something totally different. But it's important to note that this is actually raw information. So where it really gets exciting though is being able to see raw information right out of the files themselves. As you zoom in different areas, you can start to see more rich live data being actually seen live in the browser. This is 3D data, so if I was to actually pan around and start to actually look at this information, you'll actually start to see 3D elements of the data live in the browser. You don't have to do anything. There's no other product like this on the market where you can go directly from a raw file, being able to see this in a downgraded way, but it actually starts to exhibit like this particular swath. There's something wrong with the data being collected here. And you can see this now live the second you upload it. You don't have to do anything else. You don't have to put it in Flater Mouse. You don't have to do any other cube processing software suite. It's all just in the browser. An obvious artifact of the data, something's off. Like if you're starting to see this, so you have to recollect there. But you're getting this information now like the day of it's being collected, as opposed to months later, or when they get back to port, or whatever it may be. And so this totally replaces like a PDF report that you would get on a survey. This is a whole transformational, different level of transparency of the way you're actually collecting raw information. This is just the depth. And maybe you wanted to get sense of things like data density. Well, you can do that too. So in this particular case, it looks like data density is pretty consistent. We have these nice, beautiful sliders that allow you to actually hone in on maybe where some of the data density in some of the files is actually a little off. This is all just live in the browser right now, right? So there's no other things going on. It's actually happening on my machine, running in the cloud. I'm going to go back to actually depth information here because there's something else I wanted to highlight with this sort of larger survey here. When you have surveys where a lot of the depth information is pretty consistent across the board, one of the other really challenging things is when this all looks pretty much the same, I can't really see a lot of the features. One of the great things that we can do though is in that same exact data we were showing earlier, I can actually go in and live start start to show beautiful elements of this data and just really start to expose things like sort of sand dune movements or even just ripples in the sand, as well as sort of key channel elements in the data live. So of course that's multi-beam, but you can also do the exact same thing here with side scan sonar. And so we're going to move over here, and again you can see the same track line information if you want on side scan sonar, which of course there's a little bit of a different data set here that's being collected in multi-beam and side scan. You're about to see that as well. And we're going to show the live, you can actually see the raw side scan data as well live in the cloud. So again, this is something unlike anything we're aware of on the market. You literally just upload the raw files directly off the sonar and you get to start and visualize this. This is canonicalized against all sonar files. So this can handle any existing multi-beam or side scan that's out there right now. You don't have to do any types of integrations. You don't have to come to us if something doesn't work. We've got a great support team to try and help fix it. But generally, exactly the exact same sort of controls exist here for side scan as well. And so this also starts to get a sense of just basic QA/QC of the files that you're collecting in a totally different way than you're doing in general. Again, very similar. Multi-beam, you have different things like amplitude, data density, and standard deviation of that data, all live, all in the cloud for your entire team, no matter where they are. Anyone that just got an invite link, which if you haven't already gotten your email in and want to see this, one of our team members will come over, so if you can just raise your hand, we'll actually get you a live thing, and you can go look at this throughout the day because we'll be uploading some data live as we have on my machine, which I'm about to do in a second. Of course, any survey wouldn't be totally complete without the process data set, but you can also upload your process data sets. And as you zoom into different areas, you start getting different resolutions pulled up live in the browser. So this can handle very small surveys where data densities are very high. You can also handle surveys where data densities are a little larger and they cover a huge amount of area. So this is a pretty different way to think about this. This is just demonstrating generally what it looks like to do a survey with Bedrock and what that data consumption looks like. But what we're really here today to talk about is the experience as a whole. How do we actually go from taking a survey that takes 12 to 18 months and go to something that says takes a couple weeks? And that's really where our own technology that we've developed ourselves in pairing with what we're showing you today in the browser really makes this magical total acceleration of time to data in hand. And that is the real big thing that we think is important. So I'm actually going to create a new survey here. I'm going to do a live demonstration of an upload right now. We're going to call this IPF AUV. I'm going to go into this survey right now, and what you're going to notice is that there are no files here because there is no, we just created this survey. What we've done and what helps us make this possible is we have a great uploader, and this applies not just to us, but anyone else that wants to use this as a platform to help accelerate surveys in general. But I'm going to go in here, I'm going to open up just going to drag these files in here. This could be tens, hundreds, or thousands of files. So as we know, surveys can be very large. This can handle it all. The uploader itself was meant for enormous data sets. And this also makes it different than just a Dropbox or your standard S3 or whatever it may be. Similarly, let's go back in here and I'm going to add in my side scan data. So I'm going to go here and control, I'm going to start all okay, again, all of that. I'm not going to do magnetometer data today, but it can also handle magnetometer data. What you have here is, again, the mess of all of the metadata you need to sort of qualify and make sure you're actually doing your survey correctly. You have a bunch of really easy buckets for being able to look add this information and upload it live. So we also have a little bit of metadata. So I'm going to go back and upload that as well. In this case, I have two type files. And those are going to go right in here. And I know I have some sound speed files as well, which are going to go. Not yet, but that is coming. So part of this is being able to first get the organization of files standardized. After that, we're going back and actually reprocessing all these things as we're releasing the features. So sound velocity profile visualization, that's all in the pipeline. But the raw data is preserved in a standard format no matter how you actually decide. And there, and I'm going to click continue. I'm not going to add anything else, but if you add PDFs, pictures, anything else, notes from the survey, you upload them here. You can do this daily, weekly, no matter what it is. It's all structured based on time, but also on the upload itself. And I'm just going to click upload. What you see here is a really simple way to tell, are the files uploaded? Was the format of the file detected? In some cases it won't be, but you'll at least know that it wasn't. It will also tell you if you've extracted information out of that file correctly, and if any navigation information was extracted from it in the case of a multi-beam or a side scanner or magnetometer file, obviously very important for making sure that you're georeferencing everything correctly. And then lastly, was it visualized? So I am actually uploading this live on a 5G connection here. I'm going to do one more upload while we're at it. And you'll see that this sort of sits and is notifying you and your team on what is being uploaded live. So I'm going to do one more because I have some process files as well. So also going to go new. We happen to have a process mag file that I will upload so everyone can see it. And lastly, I have a side scan file. So I've structured this as a totally separate upload just for the purposes of showing you what it's like to have a time delay between uploading all your raw information and any process information. Again, I'm not going to have the metadata here, but I'm going to upload this as well. Now you can see I have two concurrent uploads, one of them being the original raw data itself, the other one being the processed end files. As any consumer of a survey that Bedrock does, this would be transparent to the entire organization as we're doing our data collection itself. So we're not hiding information, we're not doing anything different other than just saying, listen, at the end of the day, if we're doing our job right and you guys are getting to consume information that you find valuable, you should be able to see that. And right now, the survey process is not transparent. It's something where you're hoping you're getting something at the end of the day that is useful, and oftentimes, of course, there are gaps in that data. They're collecting the wrong data, they have the wrong coordinates set, and you don't know this until far, far, far too late. You have to wait to the next season. And that, to me, is a fundamental blocking point for us being able to get offshore wind developed quickly enough, or at least much faster than the way we're doing it today. So while these are uploading, I'm going to show you something else that we've done, which is just the scale of what we can do both in the raw and in any other cases. Before I do that, does anyone have any questions? Does anyone from the Bedrock team have anything to add before I stop? Dr. B? Anything to add? No? Okay. So what we're going to do right now is go over, so I'm going to exit this survey right now because things are still up. But we have a pretty large survey off the coast of Alaska here, which actually so this this is a monster. This was a really, really large survey that generally, let's see if we're going to have 5G issues, which we might because it's a conference. We'll get there. The nice thing about this is because it's web-based, you don't have some of the same compute problems that you'd have on a normal machine. So sometimes some of your processing software suites will crash when you start dealing with many, many thousands, if not tens of thousands of files. In this case, the only restriction is the speed of the internet connection itself. So sometimes it takes a little bit to load, but it'll get there. So again, very similarly, we have a clear example here where the green swaths here represent multi-beam, blue represents raw side scan. So let's say we just wanted to go in and take a look at what that actually looks like. It all loads live. Again, we have the same issue where a lot of the survey is in the same depth range. But maybe we want to start to get some sense of what this raw data looks like and what's actually there. We don't do any corrections on this raw data, so there's no sound velocity profile corrections, there's no roll, any sort of pose or positioning data changes. This is actually still raw data. This in particular, and both this one and the one that I showed you before, were data sets collected from NOAA and pulled from NCEI. The one that I'm uploading right now is actually a Bedrock survey that we've done with our data sets in there. So anyone that has the link right now will be able to sort of go in there, take a look at it, take a look at what it looks like. It's pretty remarkable. Again, as I start to play with certain aspects of this data, you really start to see different elements appear in the data in a new sort of way. Again, this sort of takes the Fledermaus concept and makes it available to whole organizations. As you zoom into different areas that maybe you find interesting, like in this case, it looks like there's a QC map right here, which of course the base map just confirmed. Let's see if we can get the data to load quick enough here. You'll notice that as you zoom in, more raw information starts getting exposed to handle browser constraints and computer constraints. And again, maybe you wanted to see things like, well, what's the kind of quality of this data? You can actually go in here. In this case, let's check this all looks pretty consistent, but it also looks like there are some clear outliers that bring the data density way up. So we're going to take this, and we're going to bring it way up to see what this thing actually looks like in a more reasonable range. And again, what we're seeing is that, yep, this is actually a phenomenal survey. Data density here is pretty consistent, which is great. Let's not check any of the standard deviation. What is the variance like in this data over the course of all? And again, it looks pretty consistent. And as we zoom in, are we going to see any sort of new features start to emerge? And yes, indeed, things are starting to emerge where you can sort of decide, you know, maybe this area over here, there's a little too much variance, but you're on the shelf, so that may make sense, right? In many cases, that's not the case. But again, one of the best things about this is then you get to go and see what the process file itself looks like. At the moment, we support full geotiffs. XYZs are on the way, as well as bag support. But this is, again, what the system should provide in a very interactive, fully cloud-native environment. Same thing again with side scan. So let's go in here. You'll get to see what the actual process side scan set itself looks like. And again, this is conference Wi-Fi, so this is akin to like being on a ship flight per se. And you'll see what the process and file looks like here, and what someone would then deliver ultimately to you. As a consumer of the information, we can do geotiffs, we can do JPEGs, whatever you'd like to have. It's all processed with similar processing software suites as others have had. We can sort of tailor the end process products to whatever you like. The whole point is you get these process products far faster than any other sort of survey provider can currently do. Again, just to finish up, maybe you want to see what the raw information like is, and again, you're seeing a similar sort of experience where really, in a live, real-time sense, to actually see what each of these things are. These are massive side scan files, just for context here. And you'll notice they're getting uploaded again. I'm starting to see a little bit here, so I'm going to try to ramp up some of the values here and gain in a little bit on what it looks like. To really start to get a very clear sense of at least some different sort of sediment movements that maybe happen here. You can see some other different sort of maybe bottom type characteristics that are being exposed over here or over here. And again, this is happening as we are collecting. So we're sending vehicles out, they're coming back, taking the hard drive right off the vehicle itself, and we're uploading it immediately, and you get to sort of see this. Let's go check and just see on what the process is like. Put some stuff up there. So, you can get any? Not yet. The beauty of what we've just done today and the things that we're showing at the moment is that this information is going to be uploaded live. So at this point, somewhere else in the world, I'm going to have our teammate start to upload a totally different, enormous survey from California. So Bridget, if you can give the go to start that upload, anyone that has access or just signed up will actually be able to go into this organization today and check on the status of what this is like. In our case, this is called BFD East, which we named Big Fucking Deal East. And we thought this would be a great demonstration not just of the experience itself, but really of the scale of what this platform can actually handle today. And so this is not as much a demonstration of just the software, but again, what it's like to consume a survey from Bedrock, where we have vehicles going out, those vehicles are coming back on the day, those raw files are being uploaded live. You get to see what's in the raw files live immediately upon upload. You can communicate with us and say, listen, this is looking off, or I don't really like what I'm seeing in this data file set. Communicate with us. We can adjust the survey plan live as it's going. So it's not this, we're not going to send you a PDF report. You're not going to get emails. You're going to get to actually see something live, so you're not surprised at the end of the day about what you got. That, in a whole, is really what we're trying to do here at Bedrock. We think this is something that will totally change the way that companies can consume data. It's also a really great way to maybe fix surveys that have happened where you got something back not super happy, or there are data gaps, or there are issues, or you wanted, something changed in the 12 months of the survey where, maybe the business priorities have changed. You could actually contact us ahead of time, and we can sort of change or adjust on the fly areas of coverage that you may need to be able to move your projects along faster. We think this is a totally different way to do survey work. So we're happy to talk to anyone else. And with that, I'll open it up for questions. Bedrock team, did I forget anything?
What a website. Incredible.
What a website. It's a great piece of technology. There is also a free publicly available version of this. So it's also important. You're going to go into here and sign up yourself. We have been scraping NOAA aggressively. And we have a ton of surveys globally that can be used for desktop studies. This is a totally free tool. You can use this as an engineering firm like Jacobs. You can use this as a developer, but you can go in here and gain real access. Now you may say, what's different in this than what NOAA's got right now? NOAA, you've got to request the information and then it comes back to you. This, you can download it live. So right now, this is something where every single day we are uploading more and more information. We have a great partnership with AWS in a secure environment. This is what it looks like today. So if anyone has any questions, yes. Yep. So we can support that with an enterprise client. So for example, if you had an instance that was already dumping data somewhere and you wanted to get that into this particular GUI and run through our processing pipelines, we can do that, but that would be an enterprise conversation that we have to have. The short answer